All right. Welcome back, everybody, to the Collecting Brothers. I'm Sean. This is Josh. And today we're coming back at you with another live. And we're talking Andor Season 2, Episodes 2 and 3. Correct, Josh?
Yeah, episodes 2 and 3. It was slow burn, and man, I'll tell you, after I watched those episodes 2 and 3, like I just had the itch, man, and I just had to go back and rewatch. I was rewatch Rogue One like that same night. Like I burned
Oh,
through two
wow.
and three, watched Rogue One, and then after I watched Rogue One, I mean, I've seen it a couple times already.
Yeah,
After I watched, I was like, this has got to be honestly for me. I feel like it's even Rogue One has surpassed even original trilogy for me. Like rewatching it at that time, and I think because one of the things that benefits the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy is just the time you spend with those characters. And so with Rogue One, you
Yeah,
don't really
yeah.
have that benefit. It just has to be on its own. But I think now with Andor and seeing Mon Mothma and seeing Saw and other media, Rogue One is now getting that benefit where we're having to spend more time with the characters and building deeper relationships with them. And so I think it's like, for me, it's like Revenge of the Sith, and I think Rogue One now for me is the second greatest Star Wars film. As crazy as that sounds, that's where I'm at.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly like. I rewatch Rogue One all the time, like casually, right? Just if
Yeah.
I want to watch some good Star Wars, I'll just turn that on. Yeah, I
Oh,
watched the
dude.
prequels and like Return of the Jedi. Um, but like something about Rogue One, right? Just hits all the right spots.
Something, yeah. Because I go Revenge of the Sith, Rogue One, Return of the Jedi. That's my top three.
That's your top three.
Yeah. What about you?
Top three.
Top three Star Wars films.
I go Return of the Jedi. And yeah, probably Revenge of the Sith.
Okay, so we have the same top three, just
Yeah.
in different order.
Yeah, just
We have the
different
same top three. Okay. Yeah. Checks out.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the sequels. I'm one of those rare people that do like the sequels. I enjoy them, but like, there's just better
Yeah,
Star
you're
Wars.
crazy for that. Okay, we got to end the stream right now. We end the stream right now, guys.
Lost all the cred, huh?
Yeah, end the stream, guys. Sorry, unsubscribe from us, guys.
It's okay to like those movies, man.
No, it's not. It's an abomination for me. I'm sorry.
All right, whatever. All right, well, let's get into Andor here. We got what is it? Episode 2 was like, what was that? What's it called? I can't remember. Because it's like a toast, right? It's like a salut that they say. I can't remember what they call it. But it's been used previously in other Star Wars media. Like, it's a general term of like, hey, cheers. Do you remember that? No? Okay. All right. But yeah, so then we start off with the Jungle Kids, where they left off, right? Because they're all fighting, and then they got into it. Now, I do like that we're starting right back where we left off, and we get to actually see the big old beast start taking out people. That was hiding in the shadows. But what are your thoughts on that opening?
It's good, yeah, and it makes sense why they started right where it left off. Because I read an article kind of about who's the guy that made the show, Tony Gilroy, right?
Oh yeah, he's the writer. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, when I rewatched Rogue One, I saw he was also the writer for Rogue One, a 5-season show. So they had plans to do a 5-season show, but then they're like, we didn't even know what we were kind of signing up for, and they're like, we're glad we didn't do that. So essentially, they condensed the story down to basically, like, these first 3 episodes was basically going to be like a season, and I'm thinking
1.
that next time jump, well, technically maybe season 2.
Oh,
right?
yeah, sorry,
season 1, right?
Yeah.
And then it would be like, and so on. And so like, this is kind of the 3 seasons that they had planned, but kind of condensed into the chunks, how they're doing it, like 3 episodes with the time jumps in between, which is kind of good, because then, I feel like it streamlines. And I bet people are going to push back on that, because it is definitely a slow burn, but it might have been an even slower burn, guys. It might have, from what Tony Gilroy's describing, it might have even been a slower kind of burn, because they were planning 5 seasons. But yeah, it was cool. I think just Cass's costume, and kind of we get to see more of Cassian, how he's like super manipulative, right? Even from the first episode where I talked about last week, where he was manipulating that girl, basically getting her killed, and he just didn't care. And we can see him again, kind of manipulating those people, trying to just doing whatever he can do to get what he wants.
Yeah. He starts. It's the Maya Pei group, right? They're the ones kind of like just like another rebel cell, just like Shadow, or the Phoenix Squadron, right? They're just another cell out there. And cool thing too, Josh, if with the end of episode 3, that. What planet are they on, man?
Yeah, we get that freaking pyramid of Chichen Itza. Oh, they're on Yavin 4. That's really
Yavin
cool
4, man.
we're getting some origins. That was cool at the end of episode 3 to see that.
Yeah, and I think like, do those boys like stay there and like start kind of building a little rebellion,
I think so.
or do they all die? But like Cassian's like, no, let's go back there, right? Because he's already been there with Porco, right? Is that just a known planet, like a good
true.
hideout? I don't know.
Yeah, I could see both possibilities. But I would like the first option just because maybe like kill off a couple of them, but have somebody there as like that's been there since like day one with Cass. It would be cool to have like that crew kind of. But yeah, one thing though I would like to see, and then maybe this could have been budget restrictions, but I feel like, bro, Disney's got money.
Yeah.
With this, this like rebel faction, I would have liked to see some aliens. Give me like one alien, because I feel like when you have a rebel cell, like you can see in Rebels, like you mentioned, in Clone Wars, and even in Rogue One, right?
Yeah.
You gotta have this wacky alien in there with a blaster. It's some dude that does not look human. Do you know what I'm saying? It just adds a coolness and a intergalactic factor to the thing, But I get it because it's more expensive. But
I think that's what Gareth Edwards did, right? You gotta have a space monkey. You gotta have some type of space furry person. Right?
Yeah, and I'm wondering maybe it's because budget restrictions, maybe because like that's a full blown movies, they can do whatever they want, and this is kind of a show, and then they're just like, why waste our budget on a costume for this little rebel cell? But it would have been cool because with animation, it's like doesn't cost them an extra dime to make him an alien, they always do it, and it's awesome.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that would have been nice to see. Just kind of fill out the rebel ranks, more diversity, right? Which is what the rebels are. So. But then we go over to Dedra and Cyril, dude. That was crazy, right? Because they're like dating now or whatever, and they live in their little Coruscant house.
That was an awkward dinner, bro. I didn't want to be there.
Well, that with the mom, that was that was weird. But I don't know. I think I like their relationship because like it's both two very cold people, right? Two very people that aren't very affectionate.
Yeah, like they're calculated, they're selfish, they're ambitious, right? And so it's like kind of weird to see it because Imperial officers usually have to be that way. To get to where they are, they have to be selfish. And so it's kind of odd to see two selfish people kind of love each other because we can see Dedra sticks up for her boy.
She stands up to his mom, right? And says listen, no more games, all right? You be respectful. He's doing a good job. And I think it was a cool insight into that like weird Empire love, right? Like super controlling, really like all that brutalism, right? Like just hard angles and the black and white choices for the evening gown. And so, but I agree with you. I like that you said that it is love to them, right? They're both in love with each other because they both have the same motivations potentially, or can use each other for that purpose. But it was interesting too. Like she said that she was raised in a Imperial Kinderblock, but that like messes with the timeline of the Empire coming up. But people have been saying like, oh, it's just like propaganda, right? They're just switching it, right? She probably grew up in a Republic Kinderblock, but
of course,
since she's in the Empire, they don't ever call it the Republic.
Of course,
right?
Yeah, I saw people complaining saying, oh, it's kind of a loophole, but it's like
no. You
do realize that the Republic and the Empire are the same entity, and so it's like
the Senate remain, right?
Exactly, because like I just watched Revenge of the Sith in theaters, and in the film, I can't remember who was talking. I think it was one of the Jedis was talking to Anakin, and they were saying like, no, he's gonna keep the Senate because he can't. He can't control the galaxy without the Senate, And so
he can't govern.
He's not just gonna. He can overthrow the Jedi, but he can't overthrow the Jedi and the Senate because then it's too fascistic, right? And people are gonna kind of go like, what the heck's going on? Like they're gonna, even the people will revolt too early, right? Because eventually they do revolt, but it's like he wants to keep them a little calm, and you can't dismantle the Jedi Order and the Senate at the same time because then it's like a dictatorship,
And I think we saw that in Rebels too, right? In Rebels, like the leaders of these planets just kind of became Imperial, part of the Empire.
Yeah, like the mayor of like Lothal kind of was like just following orders, just keeping the peace. Yeah.
So they're like, even though, so they're to the people down on the floor, right at the very bottom, that's, oh, it's the same governor, it's the same person, it's just different rules are showing up now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't feel like a change, and so then you start making name changes, and then all of a sudden it's always been the empire, right? 1,000-year empire.
No, exactly. It's kind of like you can even think like of it like with like the Ukraine and Russian war, kind of those people, basically the same people, same borders, but then some of them start same identifying language. As you. Exactly. Some of them start saying like, oh, like I grew up in Ukraine, but it's like that was once part of Russia or vice versa, and people can kind of, it's just like it's labels, but it's like it's the same thing, you know?
Yeah. No. So it's interesting that we're getting a little bit of that with the that, but let's go over to Mon Mothma and what she's doing. I'm assuming everyone's probably already seen the memes of it, but she's just in a very tough situation, right? She's got her old flame is like almost blackmailing her, saying like, hey, I know all about this stuff, and I'm like really desperate, and I might do something crazy. And then she has her daughter who's like, traditionalist, right? She wants that traditional wedding. She wants the rearranged marriage. And then she's like, I was like, my mother was drunk when I got married. She's like, I wish you were drunk. And then what does she do? She gets lit.
Yeah, it was actually, I feel like they're building it up really well. They're building up really well, I think, to show the position that Mon Mothma is in when she fully gives herself to the rebellion. Because you can see right now she's still teetering, right? She's helping out the rebellion, but she still wants to keep her status. She still wants to keep her wealth. But then now things are starting to fall apart because, her secret might get out with her friend, right? And then on top of that, her marriage is failing. On top of that, she's marrying away her daughter, right? So her not only is her family unit kind of being broken apart, which kind of, I think, family unit kind of keeps people from doing radical decisions. And because of, I feel like now that her family's becoming distant from her, she's able now to make choices without the conceptions of, okay, what are these going to be repercussions for my family? Now it's just like, what are these repercussions for me? And I think now that's going to put Mon Mothma in a position to be like, you know what, this is the right choice. Who cares about status? Who cares about wealth? I'm going to go all in for the rebellion, which she eventually does.
You know what? I think that's what the marriage is. I think her daughter is Mon Mothma's like last little connection to that world.
Right.
And now that she's completely married off, of course she goes like, and that's that's the whole thing that that's what I'm saying.
That's what the director's been building up. Totally. Like it's building up to where how can a senator who has so much wealth and status give it all up for basically a lost cause? At this point, it's a battle like it's a battle that's not looking like you could ever win.
Right. Yeah. No.
And then with that, you also get like the marriage, right? And she's like, "Oh, you don't have to do it. I wish my mom would have said I didn't have to do it either." Yeah. And so then it also kind of like that also makes me think back to that pushing her toward this decision, right? Because it's like all my life, Mon Mothma was a wealthy, high status woman in a kind of basically royalty family.
Yeah.
Been told what to do. Her life's been planned out. And then, sometimes with those people, they rebel, like not like actual rebellion, but, they rebel towards like this status quo. And so I think Mon Mothma's finally like, you know what? All my life I've been told what to do. I can finally make my own decision.
Yeah, like the bishop's son, right?
Yeah, that's why she's like trying to vicariously push that decision on her daughter. Something that she would have wished she did, but like her daughter is kind of okay with everything. Yeah, she's like that's what her choice. She's okay with it. She wants that. Yeah, she is more of a traditionalist in that sense for Chandrila.
I thought that was great. And again, that last scene where she's just drinking and dancing, right, and the camera movement of just spinning around and following her. Around and around, it's just that spiraling, right? Just
exactly, just her life spiraling out of control. No, visually, dude, like that's why I think like this show, you have to really look into what the decisions that are being made, how they slowly build, because it is a slow burn. And if you're just like washing the dishes and watching it, or on your phone and watching it, you're gonna say it's a crappy show. And that's what I would say. Like a lot of people are like, this is too slow, it's boring. And yeah, that's because you're on your TikTok reels, not fully focused and engaged with the material. Because if you are, like, you will notice what John just said. You will notice her, like,
the cinematography of it,
visual cinematography to cue you in on where the story's going.
Yeah, to like also like help with that emotion too, like to buy in and be like, oh man, I can feel that, right? Who hasn't been at a party with had a little too much to drink, and you just start going crazy, right? And she's mainly doing that to numb herself from making that cut, right? Finally buying into the rebellion fully. That's a big decision.
Yeah. And then it seems like her boy's gonna get murked, right?
100%. That guy.
That guy's murked, right? Because the girl was like looking at Mon Mothma's sister's like, yeah, bruh, I'm about to suicide bomb this guy.
Yeah.
I'm about to press eject, and then boom. Next episode, the guy's gonna explode.
Yeah. No, that guy is he's dead. Like,
oh yeah, because Luthen don't leave no loose ends.
Exactly.
Luthen's not gonna risk nothing.
Yeah, I can't remember what her name is, but she's part of Luthen's team. Like not Bix, but yeah, Mon Mothma's sister has seen her before. They've run into each other.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. They knew each other. They gave each other eyes. Like, yeah, I'll handle this.
Yeah, like she knows. Luthen said bye.
Yeah. All right, that was all the Mon Mothma scene. Really done well, and I think just great sets, great costume designs, and like this, I also saw in the party there was a lot of aliens there, so maybe that's where the alien budgets went.
Oh, maybe.
At least that's what I noticed. There were some aliens going, "Hey, sexy ladies!" The aliens are going crazy in there, man.
Yeah.
And then we switch over to Andor, right? Andor, he gets off the planet.
Yep.
Boosts off with the TIE fighter, escapes.
And then we head over with Bix, Brasso, and to that like wheat planet, you know.
Yeah.
I really like that planet, man. It's just a nice little farming community. The family is B2 emo, right? Is there having fun. But then it takes a hard turn, right?
Dude, shocked. Something I don't even know how they let Disney
do that.
Let this through. Dude, I cannot believe that they did basically which it makes sense because last episode we talked about how they're pulling real world examples what happens into war, right? And so this happens all the time. Like if you think of the Vietnam War, I remember seeing a documentary of how many bastard children were born after the Vietnam War. Nice, dude. I need to get that figure. That right there, that's a beautiful like kind of Vietnam-esque figure. But yeah. Like a whole generation of bastardized children was created after the Vietnam War that were just abandoned, like these half white, half Asian babies, and you can totally tell because they're they look completely different. Because some of them were American soldiers there.
Let's use grape instead of that. We'll get
my bad. Yeah, they were getting some crazy stuff. So I'm shocked that Disney would like you said, we're even scared to say that on here. I'm shocked that Disney would let that as a topic on their show as a Star Wars, because Star Wars
to play it out, not imply it, right? They did it, right? It was so close to
the first thing, like when he first kind of approached was like, "Where's your husband, bro?" Like, I thought they were gonna leave it at that, and that was like going to be an implication of
enough
the thing, and I was like, "Oh, that's crazy!" Like I get that, and then other people maybe who are young might not get that, but even then I was like, "That's insane that they did that in a Disney Star Wars show."
Yeah.
And then they went all the way, right? When he comes into her house and he starts pushing himself on her. I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, no, and the worst part I think about it was let's talk about that. So like the dynamics, right? In that first scene where she's coming up to where she's like working on the thing, he's like, "Oh, you alone?" She's like, "Yeah, but my husband's coming back." Like you can see her retreat into the little machinery, right? She's hoping that if I just come hide over here by the machinery, this clean imperial guy imp won't come in and like get any closer, right? And so she's creating that space in that moment. She even like makes the steam like fire off just to kind of spook him a little bit, but he's like, persistent, and then he comes back into her house, and then we get that whole like trying to do that to her, but then it's juxtaposed with Mon Mothma and that "Hey, sexy lady," right? Like that music plays throughout both scenes, right?
Yeah.
You're getting
so good. Dude, that song's a banger too. I was dancing too. I was like, "Hey."
Yeah.
Song's a banger.
And so like it was so cool to have that juxtaposition of like these high-end, very wealthy, could care less about anything, right? Having fun, getting drunk, and then have that music continue while that grape scene is happening is crazy, dude. Like it just makes it like that more dramatic and like that more emphasis on like how wrong this is, right? Because it feels wrong to listen to that type of music while you're watching that type of scene, so it makes you even more uncomfortable. So like really great job on that part, man. I think luckily she wins, and then but cheapers creepers, they went for it.
Yeah, I'm still floored that went through.
And she even says it in the show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm floored that Disney allowed that. That crazy. Which kind of like maybe brings us like, Star Wars is ultimately for kids, but maybe eventually we kind of get like with Marvel, we got in Deadpool rated R, super rated R. Yeah. So maybe eventually we get like a rated R Star Wars product, because I was seeing that before George sold Star Wars to Disney, he was actually in deep conversations, because he was best friends with one of the HBO executives, and he was in deep conversations with HBO executive to do an HBO show, an HBO Star Wars show about the underworld. Okay. And of course, HBO, it's going to be like no rules. It's not even rated R. It's rated freaking, what is it? What is the unrated?
It's like not rated NR, or is it like rated X?
Something, right? So like George was about to go crazy, man, with the HBO show, especially with Underworld. Like,
yeah,
if it was gonna be able to Underworld's gonna be insane. Yeah. And so maybe eventually, like, I feel like after seeing that, like, Disney might give us an Underworld show. I feel like that would be a really cool show to have, like an Underworld kind of really mature show.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think that's maybe in the works. We'll see. It depends on how successful Andor is, which I feel like generally, I think it's right now like the best reviewed Star Wars Star Wars show.
No, right, it's super successful. I almost feel like what's kind of crazy. I was thinking about this, like with the Andor. I bet they were maybe just gonna give like, maybe the reason why he didn't. I mean, they don't say this. Maybe he wanted to do 5 seasons, but they're like, this is not a super popular character. We can give you 2, like max. And they're like, you know what? We'll take it, right? Whereas other shows, maybe like Ahsoka or like Mando, they're like, oh, give him as many seasons as we want. But then kind of the reviews start tanking. Like, it's, Mando started like this, and then it kind of decreased popularity, and then like, all right, cut it. But we're with reviews. Like, they see names, they see Luke Skywalker, they see Ahsoka. They don't see Cassian Andor, Mon Mothma. That to them, Luthen. To them, that's like, that's nothing, right?
Yeah.
So that's something I wonder if that's what happened.
That's definitely a decision I think they make, like depending on the pull a star can pull, like that. Yeah. They definitely consider that for sure. They want their return on their investment.
Yeah, because even like with like Diego Luna, like I really like him as an actor, but like he definitely does not have like a big strong resume as an actor. You know what I'm saying?
Not
like,
domestically, we kind of even looked into
States. Yeah. Right. We even looked into it. It was kind of just like a few roles here and there. Kind of Rogue One was probably his biggest kind of
that was his biggest
American
lead,
movie.
Yeah, lead movie, yeah, for sure. And so I agree with you. Not a very bankable star, to the general population.
To the executives,
yeah. No, it was good, man. And then, man, the Imperials show up, and then Brasso, like, it gets told, hey, like, people are coming. And what do you think of that guy? And I don't know,
making out with that girl.
Will, no, that guy is just
dude. Will
that guy messed up.
Will got Brasso killed, man.
Yeah, Will got Brasso killed. But before that, no, the guy who comes in like, hey, when's Andor coming back? I need to like have a meeting with him. I need to talk to him about this and this and this. And he's like, Brosso's like, I don't know, dude. Like, he comes back when he comes back. The next time we see that farmer or that shop owner, right, is him.
He's the rat, right?
Is he a rat? I don't know. Because like there's an interpretation of where he is the rat, right? Because the imps are like protecting him. But what if like they found out that he was like helping Brasso
talking?
Yeah.
Oh.
And so then Brasso shows up and then calls him a rat, so that way it doesn't implicate him. Right.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Because Brasso's a good guy, dude. Like, I love that name too, because like in Spanish it's like, hug. And so I just want to give Brasso a hug, dude, because he's just a big old burly guy.
He's a teddy bear character.
Yeah.
Really big and burly, but just nice, right? He's like there protecting Bix.
Yeah. Taking care of her, man.
Dude, and we didn't even know Brasso like for that long. But
I know.
Man, that death scene, dude, just with Andor holding him for that moment and just it was good, man.
Yeah.
And like good. You said, like I like what you said with like that the duality of the two scenes, like with Mon Mothma thing. But for me, I saw a lot more like with Ed, and then kind of like they're losing their
cover.
Their plan, right? Because they kind of go. We didn't talk about this, but they kind of go into like more of like a political thing where like, oh, they're illegals, right? They're like they kind of go into that thing. Yeah. But like they're losing their kind of plan to stick there and kind of hide out there, and so they now have to. They lost their temporary home because they lost the original home already, but now they lost the temporary home, so now they're just screwed. They just got to go somewhere.
Yeah, and that is the roles that they're kind of like playing them into, right? Bix and Brasso are like immigrants that are working on a farm, right? And then the
Yeah,
Empire
yeah,
comes in.
totally, totally.
We're
Yeah.
doing an audit, like let's see who's writes
Papeles,
the
papeles.
yeah, Papeles ICE is showing up, right? And so
Yeah,
that's definitely the role they're playing,
for
right? And like
sure.
that's why the grape scene like is even worse, right? Because that does happen. It doesn't take an
Yes.
empire to do that, right? Those types of evils happen. Just normally with people that are in those fringes, those more I don't want to say sensitive. What is it? Vulnerable people, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. Unprotected. Yeah, just people who like can't speak up for themselves because they're going to get caught with
Right.
being illegal, right?
Right,
So
yeah,
even if something does, and then that's why the people in power know that, because even if something does happen to them, who are they going to tell?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, let's get into Cyril and Deidre do their thing, and they're gonna move on with the Gorman stuff, right? So
I really liked the way they designed the apartment, like how clean it was. Like what I liked about it is because it kind of brought me back to like the Republic, like especially how clean like clones corridors are and even Jedi quarters are, right? Clones and Jedis, they kind of don't decorate their houses. It's kind of just chairs, tables, glasses, like things that are actually have utility to them. You're never going to see like a painting or an art piece. It's just straight utility. We're all business here,
Yeah.
And so I liked how clean that apartment was. Good job, like on the set designer's part.
Everything was perfect. Like even that little fork, he had to move it just right.
Yeah, exactly. Just how anal kind of these people are. Just
his mom though, when she was like spilling everything, like just being rude, like on purpose, just to like push those buttons, man.
Boy, and is my boy adopted? Because how does he have a brown mom and he's like not like he's not mixed?
Hey, this is space, man. Yeah, it's some solid episodes. We got our friends Cassie and Bix on the run. Man, Brasso, yeah, man. Rest in peace, Brasso. And Deidre's got the new job. She's gonna go ahead and figure out what's going on with Gorman. And Mon Mothma's gonna have a hangover. Let's be honest.
Dude, and yeah, like I confirmed later that, like, yeah, you're right. Her scenes, when she is in Revenge of the Sith, she's not in Revenge of the Sith. She got deleted in there. But of course, she was in Rogue One. But yeah, man, she's good. She's a good actress, and man, I love how that TIE fighter like flew. I feel like they did it perfectly, especially the cockpit scenes when they locked those missiles and like.
Oh yeah, those are my favorite shots, man.
It's really crazy because sometimes. And I know you hate this because I know you love the sequel trilogy, but when kind of that huge Empire fleet comes, I don't know, it felt so hollow. I wasn't even scared of 20 Star Destroyers. But when it comes to like Andor, dude, sometimes I feel scared when I see a Stormtrooper. That's how crazy like this director or the creators behind it create the kind of the weight and the gravity of the Empire. The tension, because even season 1, like when Andor was with Mon Mothma's sister and her crew.
Yeah.
And it was just one freaking TIE fighter flying over.
Yeah, dude, we're cooked.
Yeah, it got my heart pounding because it's just like 5 people. It's just you just hear like that scary sound, One TIE fighter can make me scared. Whereas like, sequel trilogies, like they could have 20,000 Star Destroyers and I felt nothing. And like, so even here, like just seeing those couple stormies come, and I know our heroes are just in trouble, right? They got illegal, they have no weapons. And it just, you can just feel it. I'm scared. I can't believe I'm scared of stormtroopers. And the fact that, they're hitting Brasso's speeder, and then they eventually get him. And I love that they did it off screen because it made you feel that he got away. Because like you see them just hit his speeder, like Brasso, he made it, bro. He's out of there.
Well, he's ducking, and then they do a slow shot onto that one stormtrooper, like steadies himself, right? And you're just like, and then you're like, I don't know. Right,
gotcha.
Again, creates that tension.
I know what you're saying, but I didn't realize that's what he was. That's what the director's doing. You're right, though. They showed it because I saw that guy. He was like really slow. Yeah, I was like, why is that guy taking so long to blast?
Right,
because he was taking a steady shot.
Right, and we don't know like the result of it, but then we find and it's like interesting because we find out when Andor finds out, right, and so like that like also helps us relate with Andor. Of like we see the speeder, and like I remember when I saw the speeder down, I was like, he's okay, like he just like got tipped over. Like he just got tipped over. But then,
yeah. The speeder broke.
Yeah, they got the speeder, right? They got
the speeder's caught on his leg. He can't get out.
He's pinned. He's pinned.
He's pinned.
But no, yeah, they do it. And like I do like that, we are getting deaths. Just again, plot armor is a thing that we have in this show because of Rogue One, right? It is a prequel.
For a few characters.
But not everyone. Exactly. Yeah. Not everyone
Mm-hmm.
has that. And so we will see what happens. Next up, though, I feel like we've covered episodes 2 and 3 here, man. Again, a really good start for Andor. I think so. Again,
yeah, I think this is all just tension building for sure.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of going to be like the classic Shakespearean 3-part play. You know, tension building, and
climax, and then resolution.
Yeah, Act 2 exactly. Yeah, Act 2 is going to be insane.
Yeah, I mean, because we know we got the Gorman stuff happening. We know like that's going to show up, right? Because we're already talking about it. And so we'll see that in live action. That's going to be cool, man.
Mm-hmm. Usually Act 2s are insane, right? You're thinking back, you know, it's like original trilogy, like Empire Strikes Back. That was where things fell apart and went insane.
Everything,
right?
Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
We're on the run.
We lost Han. Everybody got separated. Yeah.
Yeah, no. So we'll see that, but no. And again, I think they're doing a good job of weaving all the stories. And I don't feel like one is like not getting enough attention. I feel like we're getting enough of the stories for each
of the three kind of.
The ISB agents, the senators, and then the rebels, right? I feel like we're getting enough of screen time for all of those, and we're not really focusing too much on just one. So I think they're doing a good job weaving those, and that could be a pacing thing too. Because like for me, I have not felt like it hasn't felt like a slow burn, and I think it's because we've been switching between these 3 stories. So it's like, oh, okay, got caught up on that.
Yeah, you want to know what happens next, especially for me with Cass. Like I want to know like. Just because, like, you know, we talk like Cass, like his ship kind of ran out of juice and he had to call in a favor to Mon Mothma's assistant at the art gallery, and like, remember that?
Yeah, Luthen's assistant.
Oh, Luthen's, yeah. Luthen's art gallery, yeah.
Luthen's stuff, yeah. And I need a pickup. What's the weather like? Yeah, no, that was good. So episodes 4, 5, and 6 are currently out already. And we'll be watching those and giving you guys a nice little run through on that as well. But there will be a time jump, you know, like Josh was saying, you know, we're supposed to be apparently 3, you know, their own kind of season.
He didn't specifically say that. He just said that the original plan was 5 seasons. I was just kind of assuming that maybe that they condensed the story and that's why there are these time jumps. Because, you know, it is kind of odd to have these time jumps within one season. Like it feels definitely kind of like super push forward. But yeah, that's he didn't specifically say each one of these was the original season. He just said originally it was a 5-season show originally.
Yeah, that makes sense to me though. Like if it's your choice is not tell your story over 5 seasons or tell your story in 1 season, you know, you want to tell your story, right? You want to tell your story. So you're going to do it the best you can. So yeah, I'm excited for the next part. It will be a time jump. We're coming in at 3 BBY. So 3 years before the Battle of Yavin.
And I love time jumps. Like I feel like, you know, if you're an anime fan, when you get time jumps, it just allows for things that you don't have to show. Like you can imply people training. You can imply people growing up. You can imply all these things, and you don't have to waste. You don't have to waste so much time, precious time of your show to build that up. It can just be implied, and you can move on to the next thing. You know, you see that with Dragon Ball, right? Dragon Ball Z, Naruto Shippuden, right? And then we saw that with like even episode 1 to episode 2, episode 2 to episode 3, right? Of course, my boy JJ and Ryan Johnson didn't do that because they're numbskulls that don't understand Star Wars. But at least this Tony Gilroy guy understands it, because I feel like that just speaks Star Wars, right? Like having time jumps, that's what Star Wars is about. Even in Rebels, think about it, even in Rebels there was a time jump. Yeah, and I loved it, dude. Yeah. You get Ezra with the buzz cut, and then you get Sabine new dyed hair.
My boy Kane.
Yeah, that time jump is so good. Yes,
I agree with you. Like the sequels did miss that, right? And I think that was a problem. That is one of their problems, is that they just kind of went back to back sequential.
Dude, literally one, like not even it's like literally 1 second, not even, no.
It's like a day or something.
1 second later. No, it's 1 second later because Force Awakens ends with Rey giving Luke Skywalker the lightsaber.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Literally 8 begins with Luke Skywalker chucking the lightsaber. Yeah, that's true. Literally a seamless transition with not even a second in between.
But your expectation was subverted.
Thank you, Ryan Johnson. Your Snoke theory sucks. Thank you, Ryan Johnson. You're right. You're so special, Ryan. I didn't guess what was going to happen. You're right.
No, yeah, I agree. Time jumps do help a story, and like you just get to meet the characters in different places and it also just allows your imagination to run. I think that's one thing with Star Wars is like you got to fill in those gaps, you know, like you got to see, I wonder what they did, and like they get to say things about stuff that hasn't even happened, right?
Like if you have like a new costume or a new weapon or a new power, you know, you're right. We can like kind of be like, how did they get that? And then later on, that leaves for like, you know, for comics to explain it, to books to explain it, you know, other media to kind of fill in the gaps, because that's always cool too, like where comics and other media can fill in the gaps.
I wonder if no, maybe I'm giving George too much credit, but I do enjoy his stuff, his writing at least. Do you think like, is there anything that predates George Lucas's time jumps like that? That like, you know, kind of does that same thing, or is that something that he's kind of created?
Oh, predates that. Oh, I thought you meant sorry. No, I bet the Japanese were doing it before him.
Oh, okay,
but no, like yeah, because even in Astro, Japanese were doing it, but like who doesn't pull from the Japanese? My boy Nolan steals whole movies from the Japanese.
You talking Inception?
I'm talking multiple, even the Prestige, bro. Even the Prestige, he copied that.
Okay.
My boy Nolan just be doing straight up live action animes.
Hey, there you go. Someone's got to do it, right? Yeah, and we know George loved Akira Kurosawa too, so we know he was into Japan.
So yeah, I bet that's where he pulled it from. Like he probably got inspired by anime, and then that's good. Yeah,
we appreciate that. Way to bring it over to the States and
because then, like I said, it leaves those nuanced gaps. Like it was so cool. Like if you were alive at the time to watch Gendy's Clone Wars before Revenge of the Sith, like because there was that time jump. Yeah. There was room for Gendy to build a story and build background for the people that wanted it. Because a lot of people don't remember that, but Gendy's Clone Wars was before Revenge of the Sith.
Yes.
Gendy's Clone Wars was the first time anyone ever saw General Grievous.
Yes, and like Gendy did work with George. It's just the problem was that Gendy did it before everything was finalized in Revenge of the Sith. So George had made changes from the collaboration he did with Gendy, right? Because General Grievous was supposed to be like that freaking droid leader, right? He's not even humanoid in Gendy's, right? That was later changed in Revenge of the Sith when George kind of was like, oh no, he's like, he's a Kalishi warrior or whatever.
Wait, you're saying Gendy didn't think he was a cyborg?
Gendy was told he was a full-on droid, yeah.
Well, then how come when Mace crushes his organs, he coughs? That doesn't make sense.
Oh, that's true. Huh? But then that bleeds
in. He knew he was a cyborg. He knew he was a cyborg. Because how could he cough? And also, when they do close-up shots, there's pink flesh.
Yeah, there is flesh in his eyes. Yeah.
Gendy knew. I think what people's issues are is that, in Gendy, he's absolutely terrifying. And then in Revenge of the Sith, super cowed, right? Doesn't want to fight Obi-Wan Kenobi, goes out and says, "You lose," and then boom, and then when Obi-Wan starts winning, he just goes off in his wheel bike. But in the Clone Wars by Filoni, I feel like he fixes it. My boy Filoni does so much cleanup work. It's unbelievable how much cleanup work he does. Because then you can kind of see he's still that monster, like he was in Gendy's to some Jedi, and then not to others. Like, and so he kind of explains it.
What was the little Akbar boy? The little Mon Calamari?
Nadar! Dude, Nadar, Kit Fisto's apprentice. Yeah, it's like, and he freaking bodied Kit, right? So it's like, and it makes sense because it's like, okay, Grievous is going to run when he sees Master Windu, Yoda, Anakin, and Obi. But anybody else, he'll take them. And so like, if it's those four, and it makes sense because it's like, those four are literally the top Jedi. Like, there's nobody stronger than those four, right? Who do you think stronger than those four? Nobody.
Yeah.
And so it's like, that's why it's like people were like, then it kind of cleaned up that mess where it's like, no, he's super scary, but he's just scared of those four. Who is it?
What do you, it's Yoda. Yoda, Mace, Anakin.
Obi and Anakin? Heck no, I'm not catching hands with those guys. But then you can see, he fights Kit, Sensei Tin.
What was I going to say? I can't remember. All right. That's all right. We'll call it here then, friends. This is been our kind of just our review of Andor season 2, episodes 2 and 3. Again, we'll be catching up more of these, so we'll just kind of be going live after we watch them. So if you guys have been watching that, come along, let us know how you guys are feeling about them. Let us know how wrong we are, how right we are. This has been fun, and this is just again something me and Josh have been kind of wanting to do, just to talk about shows we watch.
Because we already do it anyways. We're gonna talk about Star Wars anyways.
Yeah, and it's good just to get into that. It's just share our passion with you guys, and if you guys are passionate too, come on, there's some room for you. But as always, friends, keep collecting, keep playing, and may the action figure gods smile upon you. Peace.